I grew up with a lot of shame around my sexuality and a lot of fear around my sexuality. I grew up in the church where I was taught that sex before marriage was wrong and that self-pleasuring was like having sex with a demon. And so not surprisingly, as a young adult, I had almost zero relationship to my sexuality. I felt a ton of shame. I felt a lot of fear. When I would have sex, I would barely feel any pleasure. And a lot of the times I just wouldn't even know what to do with myself. I felt completely disconnected. Sometimes I would completely leave my body. I wouldn't even feel like I was there at all. I experienced very little orgasms as a young adult. Most of the time kind of being like, maybe that was an orgasm. I don't know, it seems like what other people call orgasms are a lot more fun than that, but maybe that was like the start of one. That was kind of the feeling that I got. And because of what was being taught at the time, I believed that the majority of women just weren't meant to orgasm and that physiologically they just weren't capable. And I actually believed that I was just one of those women, that I'm just one of those women that will never orgasm. And that was just my lot or something like that. So years later, I decided to finally start my sexual healing journey after lots of signs and promptings and years of like, I feel like there's something wrong here and there might be some way to heal myself. I stepped into my sexual healing journey and I remember going to meet with a sexual healer for the first time, and I'll never forget what he asked me. He looked at me and he said, "Why are you here?" And I remember saying to him, well, I really thought that I was here to heal my sex life with my partner because I love him, but our sex life is terrible. I thought maybe I was here because I wanted to experience orgasms for myself, and maybe that's possible. Maybe what I thought to be true about me just not being able to have orgasms isn't true. Maybe there's a chance. I also thought maybe I'm here because I've been teaching embodied movement and intuitive movement, and it feels a little bit hypocritical that just during sex I feel absolutely nothing inside of my body, and I feel like it would be good to shift that somehow. But all I can think of as I was sitting across from this healer was, all I could think of now is that my business is tanking, my bank account is close to zero, and I feel like all of my creative ideas have dried up. Like I just don't even know what I'm doing right now. And I was feeling lost and confused. And I looked at him and said, and somehow I feel like this is tied into my sexuality. Is that crazy? Does that even make sense? So he smiled at me and he told me now what I know to be true in my bones, which is that our sexual energy is our life force energy. It's not just the thing that you have sex with, but it is the thing that makes me uniquely and vibrantly me. It's the energy that I used to create with, that I used to call in my wealth, to create my business, to create my offerings. It's the thing that makes me uniquely me and gets me close to my purpose and close to my alignment. So that when I was blocked in my sexual energy, I wasn't just blocked from sex. I was blocked from all of my creative potential. And so no wonder my business was failing. No wonder my bank account was close to zero. No wonder I wasn't feeling creative, because I blocked that whole center inside of my body. And my lived experience is that from that day on, I started on a fierce journey of healing, self-discovery, and re-embracing my pleasure and learning a new relationship with my sexuality. Within a few months, my business was back on track. I started selling out retreats. I had all of these new creative projects. Money was coming in during a slow time of the year, traditionally. I just started to thrive. And now I feel like I'm doing work that matters to me. I'm doing work that I feel passionate about. I feel abundant in my business. And I feel like I'm doing work that is so closely aligned with my true purpose of being on this earth and of being alive. And all of that really switched for me when I was able to embrace my sexual energy and learn how to harness it and use it as creative life force. So I'm really, really passionate about sharing this with other women, because for a lot of us women, we've been so shut down in our sexuality. We've been told that it's wrong to be in our pleasure. That, in popular mainstream media, there's no it's almost like as a woman, you're either a prude or a whore, and there's absolutely nothing in between. And we have very little role models of what healthy embodied sexuality looks like. And so I feel like the suppression of female sexual energy has also been a suppression of this deep well of pleasure and this deep well of power that is our birthright. So one of the tools that I found really early on in my own sexual healing journey was the jade egg. And it's this beautiful piece of crystal, nephrite jade, that goes inside of my pussy. And it's all of these beautiful practice to reconnect me with my sexuality and to reconnect me to my pleasure. So what has the jade egg done for me? What the jade egg has done for me was helped me to find a connection to my sexuality that was mine, not connected to any other person. It was completely mine. It helped me to repattern some of my old shame and fear around my sexuality. It helped to bring my sexuality and my spirituality back together again, so that now I look at my sexuality as being something that's to be celebrated, something that's sacred. Physiologically, by using the jade egg and the jade egg practices, I've brought so much more sensation back home into my pussy so that I feel so much more in there now. I've also learned a lot more of muscle control, both in the contraction of the muscles and the relaxation of the muscles. And then it's also, I feel like, given me a higher libido. It's given me a lot more arousal and a lot more access to sexual energy. I used to think that your libido is your libido and that's what you were born with, and I don't believe that anymore. I really believe that every single woman has the capacity for deep wells of pleasure and deep levels of sexual arousal. And it's like a muscle. The more that we train it, the more that we lean into it, it just unfolds, and there's more and more and more and deeper layers in there. So all of that combined, the higher libido, more sensation, more muscle control, has also led to bigger, more powerful orgasms, to where I can feel myself expanding into the orgasm and riding the waves, right? And I'm so grateful that I've learned this new connection to my body and learned how to embrace my sexuality in a way that has been so deeply healing and deeply nourishing for my entire system, my body, my emotional body, my spiritual body. So I feel really passionate about the jade egg. And I feel really passionate about bringing this medicine out and sharing it. As I connected with my own sexual energy, I also get to connect with my creative life force. So the Jade Way is all about how to first reconnect with your own sexual energy, and then how to alchemize it and use it as fuel to activate your dreams, your visions, your greater purpose in life. And so I really, really, really hope that you will consider joining me for the Jade Way. I would so, so love to journey with you.